Welcome to Arcana Medicine. I'm your host Margot, and today we're going to talk about Mercury Retrograde, what to expect, and how to best utilize these astrological transits. So Mercury Retrograde is when collectively we experience miscommunications, delays, and technological disruptions. So the best way to describe a Mercury retrograde is it has to deal with Mercury's orbit with the sun in relation to us down here on Earth. So during this time, if we were to look up at the night sky, we would see Mercury literally moving backwards. Now, scientifically, again, that's not what's going on. So it's interesting that there is this sort of optical illusion that's being created. So when the planet Mercury is retrograde, all things mercurial tend to go haywire. So Mercury rules all verbal, written, and technological communication. It also rules travel, contracts, commerce, exchanges, as well as all things within the mental realm. That is thoughts, that's our mind, it's what we're thinking, it's how we look out into the world and make sense of things and then relate that and share that with others. So there are three major phases in a Mercury retrograde. So the first phase is called the shadow. Now, if you were to pull up an astrological chart, there will be a certain set of degrees that Mercury will be revisiting during the retrograde. The shadow period is when Mercury will be first visiting these set of degrees. This is when you can say like the headlines pop up, the story is being introduced, and we start to get a vibe for what's gonna be maybe having some delays. The second phase is the actual retrograde phase. Now, the day Mercury stations retrograde is very important and significant. This is because Mercury, which is the fastest moving planet outside of the two luminaries, the sun and the moon, and when this planet stops and turns around, it's a vibe that can be felt across the board. All things communication, technology just seems to come at a huge halt. So the retrograde phase is when the planet is turning backwards and revisiting every single thing that came up during the shadow period. Now, the third phase is called the post-shadow. This is when Mercury then moves direct, and this is also another very important date. This is when Mercury is at its slowest, and again, it's turning around in the sky. But except this time, it's moving forward for the last and final time through these set of degrees. This is seen as more of the closing to the retrograde and kind of a reconciliation. It's when we get to really move through one last and final time through everything that came up. So Mercury retrogrades, it's a great time to work on things you're already working on. Whether you're writing a book, it's a great time to review it and edit it. Whether you're renegotiating something with someone. It's not always the best time to necessarily start new things, but by all means, life must be lived and we must move forward. So if you are traveling during this time, starting anything new, buying a house, signing contracts, just make sure to leave space for errors, for miscommunication, and for things to not necessarily go clearly from point A to point B. There might be a few extra steps needed to accomplish whatever it is you're seeking out. Now, Mercury retrograde, it's also a time I like to view it as a brand new cycle. Cosmically, we're being given an opportunity to really reapproach how we think and work this part of our chart. So if you pull up your birth chart, and you locate the zodiac sign that Mercury is retrograde in, you will have a better idea as to where in your life this disruption or delays might take place. And cosmically, you can view this as a time you're being given to reapproach that part of your life and how you really want to utilize that when moving forward. If you're interested in any readings, you can find me at arcanamedicine.com. I offer Reiki, tarot, astrology, and different herbal medicines. But most importantly, I do offer a lot of free content when it comes to learning the foundations for all of these things. I thank you so much for being here. If you're still here, hit the subscribe, like, and share. That would mean the world to me. And I will see you next time.